Well, what I noticed when I owned my gyms, and I've owned gyms for the majority of my career, and I had the opportunity to talk with a lot of people that would walk into the gyms, and I'm always like, hey, what's the goal here? And most of the time, it's some sort of an aesthetic kind of reason that people would go to a gym. They want to lose weight, they want to look better, right? Like that's usually the number one most requested thing. But what I started to find out is like, there's a lot of different ways to get a specific aesthetic, right? Like you can look a certain way by cutting your calories pretty significantly, or maybe doing some sort of a diet where you restrict all your carbohydrates, right? There's lots of different ways that you can get into these kind of aesthetic looks. But what I found is that a lot of those things are not creating a more healthful version of you. So in other words, the way that you look does not necessarily translate into how healthy you are. And it wasn't until I started working with athletes that I'm like, okay, so these athletes, when they show up, they're like, look, I need to swim faster. I need to be stronger. Like they have a performance-related goal. And when you have a performance-related goal, you do all of the right things to allow you to perform at your highest level. So if I told an athlete, like, look, we need to cut your calories, or we need to cut all your carbohydrates out, like, we know it's going to decrease their level of performance, right? And the reason it decreases their level of performance is because it decreases their level of health. Anytime we decrease someone's health, it subsequently alters their performance. They can't perform very well, and then they fall into a place where nobody really wants to go. Like, we don't want to be there. So I'm like, okay, well, what if we apply this to the real world? What if we apply this to normal human beings? If we just chase better performance, then the likelihood of us eating good, but not necessarily getting on fad diets, of doing exercise that actually, like, we're doing it not just for a six-pack of abs, but we're doing it because we want to perform the best that we possibly can, what would happen to those people? And I've been doing this on myself included for many, many years, and what I find is that no longer do we just have people that look amazing, but are not necessarily healthful. We have people that look amazing and are also super healthy. Like, you can have both, right? I would argue it takes a little bit longer. It's maybe not as easy of a road because you have to do some hard work. But look, I mean, if you want the true value of anything, like, you've got to do some hard work, right? I mean, that's just part of the journey.